What's up? What's up? What is up? Today's episode is on robbery. And as you know, if you've ever joined us at the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, each of our episodes has a meaning beyond just the title. So today's episode, entitled Armed Robbery, has a lot to do with sports business and entertainment. So bear with us. But if you think about armed robbery in its most strict definition, armed robbery in criminal law is an aggravated form of theft that involves the use of lethal weapon to perpetuate violence or the threat of violence or intimidation against a victim. Today's episode, Armed Robbery, as it pertains to the Ball Hog Sports Talk, we're going to discuss in sports business and entertainment some of those aggravated forms of theft. And while the weapon being used might not be lethal, sometimes it feels as though it is. And also, there's a question whether or not us as fans of the game, the media, if indeed we are, or should be described as victims. The first story in sports that comes to mind, because a certain someone, a 50-0 prize fighter, a pugilist to the core, Mr. Money Mayweather, said that basically he is engaged in legalized armed robbery because we all tuned in to a pay-per-view fight against not another prize fighter, but against what I would call a YouTube sensation. So today's topic, armed robbery, is going to deal with some of those questionable sports business entertainment topics. And I hope that you stay with us. Let's dive in.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke. Because this is the Ball Hog Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hog, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. So come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go.
You know what it is? It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, a.k.a. Mr. Success and Celebration, here with my man, the Big Flow Show.
What's good, America? I only got one name, man. One name. Sometimes people call me Big Sexy.
Name.
Some people call me Big Sexy, but you know, we try to save that for people.
You know, for certain situations.
Certain situations.
That's a heck of a name, though. The Big Flow Show is in the building. Yo, man, I started off today talking about, today's episode is armed robbery.
Right.
But my man, Money Mayweather, I've heard people allude in passing to the fact that they got over on you. They pulled a fast one on you.
Yeah.
But Money Mayweather told everybody,
I stole your money.
I stole your money. You watched me fight a YouTube sensation in an exhibition match that didn't cost anything. And I took big bank. Big bank to the bank.
He didn't put a belt on the line. He said, my record's not even on the line.
My record's not even on the line, man.
Say that?
I might have reached my wits' end when it comes to Mayweather. I'm a Mayweather fan, but you can't tell me you robbed me after you robbed me.
Did you buy the fight?
I did not.
I couldn't do it.
I
can't be associated with that.
I felt guilty as a Mayweather fan. I felt guilty that I didn't buy the fight because I want to see him. Because you got to appreciate greatness in its current form. And while he's not as great as he used to be, and he's not fighting real fighters, at the same time, I still like watching him be a defensive fighter and have that shoulder roll, because how many more times do we get to see it? But now after the fight, for all of those who did pay for the pay-per-view fight and sit there and endure what was 8 rounds of some dancing around and not a lot of fighting, you got to be a cold man to tell those same people, I robbed you, I took your bread, bruh. I mean, how do you do that? Money
Hey,
Mayweather might have gone
77 million people, I believe, voted for Donald Trump, and he told you I could shoot somebody in the face and not lose a vote. And they said that's cool with me. I'll vote for you anyway.
We caught him on a recording saying that he grabs women by the genitalia because there ain't nothing they can do about it because he's a celebrity. And
But to be fair,
you got a good point.
Biden told people, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, and we voted for him. So we don't care. We don't care. Society, we have no soul.
So you think that this armed robbery, this heist will continue? Mayweather will continue making money in exhibition. He said he would fight till whenever, as long as you keep buying. He said, if you don't like it, stop buying the fight. If you don't like it, stop writing about it.
So much bread. Think about this. How many people get paid to play basketball or football for multiple seasons? This dude did it in 1 second. So I want to announce right here to all of America who's watching, for $25, me and B Brown gonna fight. It's not gonna be in the ring. It's gonna be in the alley. Me and B Brown gonna fight, man. I don't care what you say.
Somebody record it.
Record it.
I gotta put in some stipulations. You can't hit me in my face though, man. I ain't.
What Tyson had a rule: no knockouts.
No knockouts.
What does that mean? We're not allowed to knock the other one out.
Yeah.
You can't knock me out.
That's what it is.
Hold on, man. I'm just gonna be careful what I say. For $100 million, you can hit me all in my face. I'm straight. I'll get over it. You're not that.
We're not gonna make $100 million, but for $1 million, I'll take the $1 million. If we can make up to $1 million, we get this thing subscribed pretty well. But these greats,
right here, man. We gotta get your people, talk to my people. We're gonna put this together. Me and B Brown gonna fight. You meet me up. We're gonna have to meet at some weight class. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna have to meet somewhere. I'll cut. We'll get it right.
We'll get it right. So this armed robbery episode, we had to start with Money Mayweather. He said, I changed my name. I told y'all what it was. I went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather because it's all about the money. And I'm seeing in sports this week that there are other armed robberies going on. And it seemed as though there was an easy decision that money should have been on Brooklyn based on the fact that they beat Milwaukee by 100 points in game 2. I'm exaggerating, but barely. It beat them by 40 points. And they was up by 50 at one point. It literally beat the brakes off of them. But Vegas decided to call Brooklyn the underdog last night. And it turns out that Vegas was right. Vegas seems to always be right. The Brooklyn Nets did lose a game to Milwaukee. And so do we have a series here? Do you believe in this series?
I don't think we have a series. I think that sometimes you can, if I beat you so bad, I might just need a little rest. They want to get a little rest so they go ahead and do something. And you guys, everyone's talking about how terrible Milwaukee is, just piling on so they come through. But, we talked about this before the show. Vegas actually, joke is on them, if you think about it, because they got everybody to vote or to bet one way. And then they made the spread a little too much. They could have made the spread a point, and they still would have got all the same voters would have voted that way. They went 3.5 points. The Milwaukee won by 3, so Vegas lost. So
and they almost called a foul at the end. So Vegas, it's funny how that played out. But yes,
Vegas.
Kevin Durant almost hit a 3 at the end. They got the rebound. They being Milwaukee got the rebound, but they decided not to foul. So some of that stuff, when you look at it, I question it, but. I never thought that Milwaukee would win a game based on how they performed in game 2. We'll see if we have a series. At this point, everyone did what they were supposed to do. Milwaukee won their first game at home. Brooklyn won their first 2 at home. So we'll see if we have a series here. I think James Harden is going to be out for the duration of this series with a hamstring. And it goes to show
that some of these
same
trainer that AD got.
Yeah. What'd you call AD last week? What was you calling him?
Mr. Glass?
Mr. Glass.
I'm tired of him.
I don't think it's just him, though. A lot of the injuries have to do with the fact that they had the bubble season, a condensed and shortened offseason, and then they went right into it's a condensed season, but 72 versus 82, not that big of a difference. The 10-game discrepancy, I don't think, makes up for the fact that they had a very short offseason after the bubble season. So are we putting our superstars, these NBA superstars, in harm's way? I
don't know. How are they going to adjust for next season is the question. When do we just go back to normal and just call it a day, or is it?
I think they're going back to 82 games. 82 games next year.
But so the regular season, time.
It'll start the same. Everything's back to normal next year.
Should we be ending in the middle of? Usually we end it around now, right?
No, it ends. Yeah, June. It'll be over in June. This will be
Will it?
over in June. Yeah.
No, I mean, we got left. We're at the final four. No, final
We're at the
eight.
final. We're at the final 4.
No,
Final
final
8.
eight. Nah, so you got a week at least.
You got 4 on each side. You
Yeah,
got 4 in the West.
finals is going to be in July, so we're still skewed. So I don't know how they're going to do it. They got to keep. It's hard to get things back to normal, when you mess off like that. So,
but it's only a few weeks off. So normally we would be ending in June, like last week of June. Now it's going to end mid-July. So we're 2 weeks off. So I don't think they're going to have a problem with, and that's the domino effect. Right. That last year's
LeBron will be
season,
back. LeBron, he getting rest. LeBron, LeBron been to the finals the last 37 years, right?
Well, every time we talk about basketball, we talk about playoff basketball. You got to talk about LeBron James. He ain't in the playoffs no more, man. I know that's your guy, but that was just a random mention of LeBron. He's not in the. What does that have to do with this time?
Yeah, one time you probably would have talked about LaMelo. So I mean, I talk about LeBron. You want to talk about LaMelo? We can't talk about
LeBron James.
That was censorship. Censorship in America's bad. I want to talk LeBron James. To hell with these playoffs, man. LeBron's.
That's why you mad. Tell him why you mad, son.
Why you mad? Because I got those beats. I got that dope stuff. I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's all right. I kid, he's all right. He's all right.
You mad because LeBron not in it?
I am. Here's the thing is, I didn't know LeBron. I was a LeBron fan. I never knew until he went to the Lakers, and I had hated on the Lakers because I didn't like Kobe, and now I like the Lakers. I ain't gonna buy a hat because I can't go all the way out like that. But like now, I like the Lakers. So now that he's out the playoffs,
you're a witness. That's what they call y'all.
Baseball. Now
you're a witness.
Baseball.
That's what they call y'all LeBron fans.
Now I'm a baseball fan.
You're baseball. They didn't push you to baseball.
They done got me watching pro bowling.
Yeah. I'll say this, man. I'll see if this Milwaukee team can win another one. Shorthanded without Harden, down by 21 at some point. You still felt as though Brooklyn could win the game at any point last night. Even with KD being defended by 3 people and hoisting up a 3-pointer at the end, it wasn't until it rimmed out that I really believed Milwaukee was going to win that game. They've given me no real confidence in seeing what I see. They can't beat Brooklyn. Victory. Can anybody beat Brooklyn?
LeBron James? No.
He's not in it. He's not. Who can anybody beat Brooklyn this year in the playoffs?
Man, watch these Suns, man. They've been playing a little bit.
You like the Suns? I like the Suns too. I said the Suns would probably be a favorite to win when me and Ellis were going back and forth about it. The Greek Freak finally looked a little bit freakish last night.
Ellis is our producer for all those who don't know who the hell Ellis is.
Yeah, he's a producer. I have to talk about the Utah Jazz series. Utah versus the Clippers. They being the Clippers are down 0-2. They were down 0-2 in the last series against Dallas, so they've been here before. They should still have confidence. They lost the first game by 3 points. They lost the second game by 6 points. It's been a lot closer and a lot more competitive than this Brooklyn and Milwaukee series. What do you think about Utah Jazz? Donovan Mitchell is acting a donkey. I think the first game he scored 45. Second game scored 37. If the numbers are off a little bit, it's only about a little bit. He's been acting an absolute donkey. To me, he is the MVP of the playoffs right now because you saw in game 1 when they did not have Donovan Mitchell how Utah looked in their first round. And now how they look in midway through the second round. Donovan Mitchell's that dude. Is Utah, as the team with the best regular season record, are they the team to beat?
I mean, you got to show them some respect. Although, I don't know. No one knows who these Clippers are for real. What are you doing? I mean, they look like they were going to lose a series to Dallas, and then they come back, and then they just win 2 in a row, and they get up out of there. Now they come back here, and they thought they're chilling. I think they got that lazy, lackadaisical attitude, like, all right, we got this. Oh, man, we down 0-2. And, then they go back and say, all right, we got to win a couple games. They win a couple games, and they say, we got this. All right, now we're cool. Oh, then they chill. So I don't know. I think the Clippers are going to turn out to be all right, a little better than they expected. I kind of wanted to see them go out the first series too, the hater in me.
Just because you're a Lakers fan. You feel like if the Clippers – if the Lakers not going to be in it, the Clippers can't be in it. There will be no playoff games in Staples Center without LeBron James. That's how you was feeling?
Nobody.
Tell me you mad, son. My man Rondo got a total of 0 minutes. You and I played just as much as he did last night. Rondo got 0 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that works, man. Talk about armed robbery. I thought that was the answer for the Clippers, but I guess not.
Playoff Rondo, too. They always talk about playoff Rondo. Rondo's old, though. He's been winning for a while. He think about it.
You give him a pass.
He needs a day off, man. He needs a rest. He needs to rest.
That's what that was. I gotta rest these aching bones.
Man.
On the other side in the East, all right, we talked about 76ers and Milwaukee, and the other side with the other two teams still playing in the East. Atlanta and the 76ers are tied at 1. The Hawks went in and stole game 1 from the 76ers in Philadelphia. 76ers equaled and put them at 1-1, the series at 1-1. On paper, it says that Doc Rivers and this Philadelphia 76ers team should be whooping Atlanta. But, man, Team Light Skin, your boy, man, Trey, I don't know, man. This Trae Young cat is special, man. I never was a big fan.
He's pretty good.
He made a believer. I mean, the Knicks series. That series is tied at 1-1. We'll see. So whoever wins,
I'm trying to get myself to care about that one, and I'm having a hard time. I'll be honest with you.
The reason I care about it because it brings me back to like the days where Dominique and Charles Barkley.
But the Nets gonna beat the hell out of them. Whoever they play gonna beat the hell out of them.
So maybe you figure whoever wins Milwaukee and Brooklyn series.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't
should win the East.
Don't say that though. What you just said sounds crazy. Whoever wins.
It's probably
the Nets gonna win, man.
It's gonna be. All right, so Brooklyn.
The Nets NBA championship. Let's fast forward to our July 15th episode. I hope this is a Friday night. Hopefully they play Thursday. Fast forward. It's a congratulations to the Nets. You won the NBA championship. It's over.
Just gonna fast forward. We'll say this. They definitely look like they got a good shots. Without James Harden to be scoring at will and be beating up on Milwaukee like they stole something.
They have spare Hall of Famers. They got Hall of Famers to spare. They put this Hall of Famer on the bench. We got you.
Yeah, he's just going to be on the bench tonight. And the last series on the West side, the Western Conference side of the bracket, you've got Phoenix is up 2-0 against Joker in Denver. And they look unbeatable. But it brings me to both of those names or those teams bring me to a different topic. It brings me to the NBA awards.
Let's go.
And Monty Williams is up 2-0 in the playoffs after the performance that he had in the bubble in Orlando last year. Yet Monty Williams
just took out the GOAT.
You say again?
Just took the GOAT out of the playoffs.
Just took the GOAT out of the playoffs. Again, there's somehow another mention of LeBron James.
I was trying to give Monty props.
That's how you give LeBron.
He just took the GOAT out. You beat the GOAT. That's what you make you.
Backhand. Okay. All right. Cool. So yes.
Exposed
among his accomplishments is he took the GOAT out in the first round, first time. That has happened. And Monty Williams, though, is unfortunately second place when it comes to Coach of the Year. The way that they did the Coach of the Year voting, he got more first place votes, more first place votes. But because it's a cumulative point system, he didn't win Coach of the Year. Tom Thibodeau won Coach of the Year. The New York Knicks, who I absolutely hate as a Miami Heat fan. So maybe I'm hating on Thibodeau because he's connected to the Knicks. I don't know. I can admit that. But I will say this. Monty Williams, if you had the most votes for Coach of the Year, I think that they should just sort of squash the whole point system they have. He should be Coach of the Year.
I'm
the
saying
eye test tells me Monty Williams should be Coach of the Year.
If you take that same point system, then LeBron is the GOAT.
Because explain that.
Michael Jordan got 6 championships.
Right.
How many did LeBron got?
LeBron has right now, he has 5 championships. 4. I mean, we had 2 in Miami.
He got 5.
He has 5. He's still 1 short, though.
No, he got 2 in Miami. Sorry, 2 in Miami.
2 in Miami.
One in LA. So he's got 4.
1 in Cleveland and 1 in LA. That's 4.
That's 4. So he got 6 first place votes for Jordan, 4 first place votes for LeBron. How many second place votes he got?
He's been to several.
All the rest of them, except this year. The rest of them.
I mean, he's got 2 in Miami. We made it
under
to
the same vote structure that we take Coach of the Year. LeBron is the GOAT because he has more second place votes.
I'm so confused about the LeBron talk this morning. I'm gonna give you that because I'm not even. Only because I got to get back to Monty Williams. I'm going to give you that. I don't. Not that he's a GOAT, but that your point system.
Everybody out there in TV land, you guys understand what I'm saying. Is if you're saying that I'm first this many times and second that many times, and that counts for the Monty Williams episode and the whole thing, so that you're going to give Thibodeau, then you have to give LeBron the GOAT because he's got second place finishes and first place finishes. You add those points up, you discount them quite a little bit, but you bring them together and you carry the 6 and you're straight.
You carry the 6. Look, and Michael Jordan. I was just about to say that LeBron James gets a deduction in points because he just lost in the first round. LeBron James lost in the first round. Michael Jordan did lose in the first round, but he didn't have a super team.
He didn't have a super team either. Mr. Glass was at the house. Who was on the super team?
Are you serious?
14. Mr. Glass was at the house.
The Lakers had a powerful team, man. Stop playing, man. Stop playing. We gotta get back to Monty Williams. Right. We gotta get back to Monty Williams.
Let's go back to what Jordan saying. Monty Williams.
When Jordan lost in his first round, he did not have the team that LeBron has now. Come on now, stop playing.
He lost 3 times in the first round. He was by himself, 14-1. Monty Williams is coach of the year because he beat Mr. Man 14-1. First round. This dude been winning championships longer than he's been alive. He's been winning first round playoff things almost longer than he's been alive.
I have no problem giving him his props. I have a problem with the point system method of figuring anything out when, because and I got to admit, maybe again, it just brings back some ugly memories. When I was at Notre Dame, my senior year, we had a ballot. You remember the ballot? You get a ballot and you get to decide who is the captain. And you get to choose 3 people. You get to choose 3 names.
Yeah.
So my senior year, we got that ballot. We got to choose 3 names. And in a particular coach's infinite wisdom, after the ballots were in, he said, because the difference between total numbers between 3rd and 4th, he said the person who got first was a clear first. But 2nd and 3rd and 4th were so close that we're deciding we're only going to have 1 captain. Now, I happen to think that I was wrapped up in that, and I was robbed on robbery. I was robbed of my captain title.
Who was the captain? Jerry's?
Jerry's we had a single captain that year. Now, I would have been okay if we started off the process saying we're only going to have 1 captain. You only get 1 vote.
Mm-hmm.
But then he brought in this coach with infinite wisdom, brought in some statistician telling us that from behavioral finance standpoint, it wouldn't have changed how the votes were, yada, yada, yada. I have an issue with that. That same nonsense that because I think we overthink things sometimes. And this whole wonky, nerdy view of how to come up with something as simple as who's coach of the year. You get 1 vote for who coach of the year is, and you go with it, as opposed to some silly, stupid.
Who's 5th place for coach of the year? Who cares?
You get 1 vote, and that way they can eliminate this. Monty Williams, and he's gotten screwed before, right? Because after the work that he did, he's gotten fired after some of his performances, or he's resigned after some of his performances. So as a coach, he's been a great coach for a long time. This is Thibodeau's 2nd coach of the year. This one, I think, rightly belongs to Monty Williams' trophy mantle. I think he got robbed, man. And the point total, however you do that, I think it's stupid. You're overthinking it, right? You're overthinking it. Yeah, I don't know what you think about it before we move on to some of the other
agree.
awards.
I'm agree with you on this one because I think, who cares who's the 2nd place for coach of the year, 3rd place? Who do you think is the coach of the year? Leave it at that. That's it.
You know, by admitting that, you just also admitted that LeBron shouldn't be the GOAT. But I ain't gonna go there, right?
No, I was just utilizing the tools that we had in front of me. And I said, I didn't make the rules. I'm just trying to abide by them.
I think you just agreed that LeBron, you have a conversation about something else. But when it comes to GOAT, it's Michael.
So Scott Bibb now, he wants to say that the Suns are loaded and the Knicks aren't. But, still, they both turned things around. The Suns were the worst team in the NBA or something like that last couple of years.
They turned it around last year in the bubble. So that's when they first started seeing their success. In the bubble, I mean, they balled out. You look at their record in the bubble, and they just missed out on making it to the playoffs. But they were an amazing team in the bubble. But they had to recover from some of the early season things that they did not do. But Monty Williams created a culture. He created a culture, and he's balling in the West. That same argument, you might make that argument in terms of the tools that Thibodeau has versus the tools that Monty has. I could then take a very arguable point to make that, yeah, but the Suns are playing in the West, a much more competitive conference than the East.
And just took out LeBron James.
And Tibbs lost in the first round. They got a gentleman sweep to the Hawks.
I can't argue with you.
Arguable coach of the year.
I think Monty Williams is easy coach of the year. I do. I think
Thibodeau. I don't even think
and Thibodeau been doing this for so long. Kind of, you put that in there. Monty kind of he's on the rise, coming up, doing different things. He's just been balling where he's at, and I think he's coach of the year. I think
Monty Williams should have got coach of the year. That man got robbed.
Thibodeau
he got robbed.
Return the merchandise, Thibodeau.
Get that man back his trophy, man. 45 votes for coach of the year to Tibbs, 43 votes to the coach of the year. There's a whole bunch of bias in there because the media has an East Coast bias. It is what it is, right? Everything is based on Eastern Standard Time, and a lot of these decisions are based on the fact that we get to see the Eastern teams, specifically the Knicks, in prime time more than we get to see the Suns. But Monty Williams, my brother, although
out of all the old people over there, retired people, nobody really cares about. No one cares about it. No one's from Phoenix. That's the problem. Nobody's from Phoenix. They don't have anybody.
Man got robbed.
A third of the population's from New York.
His peers gave him the award, but when it came to the media types, unfortunately, they got it wrong. Tibbs, I like you and everything, but I think Monty Williams got robbed of his coach of the year. The other awards, you had Defensive Player of the Year went to Rudy Gobert. I don't think you're going to hear much of an argument from me there.
I think he should be banned at postseason awards because of COVID, but that's just me holding a grudge. How he brought sports down, but besides that, yeah. Okay.
You still mad at him because he was touching mics?
Still mad. He want to touch everybody doing all playing around.
Touch all these mics. The MVP went to the Joker. You're not going to hear any argument from me. I guess I got Most Improved Player. Sorry, Julius Randle.
See, that's why Tibbs got the award because he made dude. He got this Most Improved Player out of nowhere. He said they don't have anybody on the team.
He deserved it. I'll give him that award. He deserved it. Although his coach did not deserve Coach of the Year. And then MVP went to the Joker. He's the lowest drafted player to ever win the MVP. He was the 41st pick.
First center since Shaq. Although I don't believe there's such a thing as a center anymore, but first center since Shaq.
Yeah. And we got to talk about the lone vote that my man D-Rose got. Derrick Rose.
You think Thibodeau gave him that vote? Who gets the vote? Where the votes?
I don't think Derrick Rose himself would have voted for himself. And all his
he's got to be the first dude to come off the bench and get an MVP.
Yeah, I think he got 3 starts because of injuries, but didn't even start. And it goes to show you that because it was the fan composite, that whole new let's get the fans involved. Derrick Rose has an MVP vote. But when you look at the numbers and you see Derrick Rose, like, wait a minute. How does Derrick Rose got a vote for MVP? It just shows you that the fans need to stay where they are, in their own cave or woman cave, watching the game and not being a part of the voting because they just get it wrong.
That's just the same society that just paid Floyd Mayweather $180 million to fight a dude off YouTube.
Yeah, armed robbery is the only way that D-Rose gets a vote for MVP.
September 1st, Brown Florima fighting the alley.
Straight up.
Be there, $25.
Let's just get a million. Matter of fact, I'll take 500,000 right now. I get 500,000 a piece. $1 million total. You take 5, I take 5.
Punch you right in your face. 1995.
Don't hit me in my nose, dog. Don't hit me in my nose.
You hit me wherever you want to hit me, man. If you give me money,
you win it. Just give me
for
that
the bread. I'll be all right. There's nothing you can do to me that the bread won't make me feel better. I'm short too.
Speaking of going to get the bag, going to get that bread, college football says they got to go get that bread. It looks like in a very short time, we're going to have some changes to the college football playoff system. They're voting next week, and the vote is whether or not that college football playoffs should be expanded to 12 teams. So let's start with just the question. And I ask it to you and anybody listening, and this is the perfect time to say, please please comment, please share. Tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. Please subscribe in podcast world and tell your friends to subscribe too. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. We in the building. The Ball Hawk Sports Talk with sports, business, and entertainment collide. So please help us get to other people. Please please comment, please share. It won't cost you anything.
Tag your mama.
Tag in Florida we say your mammy. Tag your mammy. Tag anybody. But let's get the Ball Hog Sports Talk out and about into everybody's living room in their headphones. So I ask you this, and I ask anybody listening, just a very open-ended, basic question. Should college football playoffs be expanded beyond 4 teams? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
What do you say?
I think you're not going to have any discrepancies like the Coach of the Year vote here. Everyone is going to vote yes. No one will vote no. The bowl games are going to be as insignificant as they were, but everyone wants to see more people in the playoffs. Everybody. Every year somebody gets snubbed. Everywhere. I'm sure they're going to say the 13th person and argue about that, but I'd rather see that argument about the 13th person or who should have got the bye, who shouldn't have got the bye. I'd rather see that argument than the 5th person being.
I don't think everybody, because I'm not certain I would say yes. I'm not so certain I would say, only because this is like, if you expand the playoff teams, the number of teams in the playoffs, you're basically increasing the number of games that these kids play. And so you've got to decide whether or not it's going to be an amateur sport where you're protecting the kids and their health, or it's going to be a professional sport and you pay them. So as long as you are telling me, right, that this is going to be an amateur sport and that you are looking out for student athletes to go to campus and graduate, if you keep selling me this fake bill of goods, I'll buy the bill of goods, but not then you say we're going to increase the number of teams in the playoffs, therefore expanding the number of games that these kids play and increasing the overall risk that they take in terms of their health. I don't think those two go together. So you either got to pay them, and let's just say it is what it is. Yeah, you're going to play more games because we make more money, and we can give you more money when we make more money, or you're not going to pay them, and let's just keep it at 4 teams, because if not, they're going to be playing more games.
It's going to be more games for 2 teams, right? More games. So right now you got the 2-team playoffs, right? So you get, if you win the championship, you get the two games. Now it's going to go a playing game basically, and then the 4 teams going to get in. So you're going to add 1 extra round. I guess, am I doing it right? 2 extra rounds.
2 extra games. So go ahead. Sorry.
The champion's not going to complain, right? So you got 4 or 5 teams, or 4 to 8 teams are getting an extra game in there. On July 1st, they're talking about giving you the name, image, and likeness. You got 4 to 8 teams that have a better chance to make their name popular. Less people opting out because the football is getting weak. If you don't make the playoffs now, nobody wants to.
You think less people opt out? I think more people opt out.
No, because everyone's in a meaningless game. If you're not in the playoffs, all these people are going to sit there and opt out because they're not in anything meaningful. They can't do anything. I think people are less likely to opt out at the end of the season. Some people, like, what's his name? Bosa opted out real early in the season. He didn't know what his team was going to do. But less people are going to opt out if they know that they have a chance to win a championship, because people want to go try to give a chance to win a championship. So now you have the top 12 teams there. The other bowl games, people opted out, but they were doing that anyway. And I think you're going to turn those games, those other bowl games, into exhibition games for next year, because you got people who have 4 games that they can play in and still be redshirted. So they'll put their young fellas in there. The other guys will opt out. They'll go. Everybody will be happy at the end. I don't
think everybody's going to be happy. I think the definition of meaningful is a very subjective term, right? Like meaningful. How? Yes, Bosa opted out because he didn't care if they were going to be undefeated.
Well, he
knew that he was going to be a top 3 NFL draft pick. So when I think meaningful, when he's comparing, am I going to go out there and play for free and risk injury after watching his brother get hurt in the bowl game, the same bowl game that
his brother didn't get hurt. His brother got ejected.
He got ejected. Sorry. But in that game, Jalen Smith got hurt.
Yeah.
And had nerve damage in his knee and lost a bunch of money. So you're right. His brother didn't get hurt. He got ejected for targeting. But Jalen Smith did get hurt in that bowl game.
Yeah.
So in that bowl game, there was a very costly injury that occurred right before the Bosa family.
They're playing for nothing.
Playing for nothing.
So now you got games where they're playing for something. So now I guess it goes back to.
I still don't think that's playing for something. You ain't playing for bread. Even if you hoist up the trophy,
everyone wants to win a championship. Yeah, you're right. Well, then we should cancel the postseason based on what you're saying.
I think that we should keep the postseason as it is. 4 teams that are vying for a championship, because it keeps it intriguing enough, yet it doesn't interrupt this whole idea of amateurism.
America, we just figured out who voted for Rose or MVP vote. It's Bobby.
I'm the one person.
You're the outlier. You're the outlier. No one agrees with you. Everybody wants to see it expanded.
I don't think so, man.
Pac-12 hasn't been involved. They've been meaningless for the playoffs. Nothing for years.
That's because they're not good a lot of times.
I know, but you know what I'm saying? The fans want to give a chance to go see what's going on and get involved.
And they got to play better.
What do you think about the way they're doing our boys Notre Dame? They say you can't get a bye because you don't join the conference. What do you think about that?
I knew that the pressure was going to come some way, somehow for Notre Dame to get into the conference picture. But this is a whole different level of pressure.
Better question.
I think that Notre Dame's got enough influence where they could, there's got to be sort of a stipulation that doesn't penalize Notre Dame for being independent. Because if not, then Notre Dame's got a steeper hill to climb than any other team starting at the season almost every year because they can't win a conference championship. Outside of that Power Five, I'm assuming that there's going to be some of those conferences too that have the same steep hill to climb because I think it's just the Power Five, right? That have
the Power Five automatic top 4 teams. The top 4 teams out of the top Power 5 get an automatic bye. And you know what? That's bullshit too. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the top 4 teams are going to come out of the Power 5. But let's take a Cincinnati right now who's not in the Power 5. They've been top 10 team. They're on the rise. You're telling me that if Cincinnati goes undefeated and they play a couple Power 5 teams and beats them just because they're not in the Power 5, they can't get a bye either? I think there's a little too much power and bias being given to the Power 5 in this, and I think Notre Dame is getting sucked up in it. Why don't you just say the top 4 teams get a bye? Let's just leave it at that. Why does it have to be a stipulation from the Power 5? Like, that's just inherently wrong.
I agree with you there. Now there we agree. I don't agree that they should expand the teams to 12, the total number to 12 teams. But I do agree that your top 4 should be your top 4. Or, like the whole ranking system throughout the season, you're showing that you have no confidence in it. Your top 4 should be your top 4. Right. No matter where that school is positioned conference-wise, your top 4 should be your top 4. And the automatic nature of it, I do agree with you also, creates this opportunity for bias because we got the SEC slant that already happens in the rankings throughout the year, right? A SEC school could have 3 doggone losses and still be top 10. Where they do that at? But only in the SEC because they got this SEC bias. It's interesting to see the Notre Dame take on it, but I'll give you final word. You think that the NFL, and look, Freudian slip. We might as well call them the NFL if we now increasing it to a real playoff. Freudian slip. You think that the college football playoff overall number of teams should expand? Absolutely.
I think every other level of every other sport in college athletics has playoffs with more than 4 teams in it. Whether it's the biggest moneymaker, the most important, the hottest ticket. And we have the smallest number of members to do it. And it comes to a bias. Now, I will say most seasons it comes down to the 4 are pretty clear cut. Then number 4 is a little bit of an argument. But again, I'd rather be sitting here arguing about 13 and 12 because you're just like, whatever, win more games. Because there'll be some 2 and 3 lost teams that'll probably be in there. I'd rather see that than go whatever. Put some more meaning behind it. It's great for revenue, great for football. People get involved. More people get in the playoffs. Because right now,
man, I don't agree. I want some exclusivity to it. Even with March Madness, I hate it when they start.
Ricky Raymond, I appreciate you, Ricky Raymond.
Yeah, he agrees. I don't even think that when it came to March Madness,
is Ricky giving me Wakanda with his picture? Y'all can't see everybody who's on the podcast world, but I don't know, Ricky. I'm trying to help him out. Is that your real picture, Ricky, or is that?
That's his real picture. Yeah, that's a Wakanda there. But I don't think even when it came to March Madness, you expand the teams. There's got to be some exclusivity to it. If you want to be in the show, then perform during regular season. The more you expand it, the more teams have a sort of a disincentive to play. I think that's what makes college football so unique.
I think you just brought up some evidence that counselor that hurt your case.
How?
They expanded the playoffs, right? And this year, a playoff team made it to the Final Four, a play-in team.
Oh, you talking about the tournament?
NCAA tournament. They expanded, had playing games, and those playing teams are winning games. They're doing showing you don't have to be a top seed.
I don't care. You look, here's my thing. I think that you got to make the regular season so important that each game, each week has to be so important. And the more you add those teams to the playoff picture, the more you're weakening that weekly power that each college game has. I think that's what made
you're playing for a bye game or for a bye week. I think it's unfair when you think about it. The last team in the NFL to go undefeated and win the Super Bowl was the Miami Dolphins back before you were born, right? So, and you old as hell. Hairline all.
I'll take that.
I mean,
I'll take that.
So at the end of the day, like it's hard to go week in, week out in football with no missteps with these conferences. And we don't want people to have we want people to play crossover games in different conferences, but that's not encouraged because if you make a mistake, you're out. Well, now you've got 12 teams that you can go play for. You can be top 12. No, they're top 12 every year.
Unless they're going to play 16 games, which I don't think anyone's proposing. What's going to happen is that the regular season gets condensed. And so games that, I would say we've had this whole HBCU series here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. All of those games go by the wayside. Those are money makers and program sustaining games that help programs sustain themselves by just having these money maker games. Notre Dame's playing, I think, Central Michigan this year. That doesn't happen with a revised schedule that is knocked down to probably 6 or 7 real regular season games if you have a real playoff.
Why are you saying, what are you talking about?
If you're going to have 12 teams, there's going to be less number of regular season games. That's what I'm talking about. It has to be. You can't play 12 regular season games and then also have a playoff system with 12 teams in them. Unless you want the kids to play 16 games. That means your champion has played 16 games of free football. That's what I'm talking about. That there's going to be a fewer number of regular season games. It's going to mean that these big programs aren't going to take the games against a Central Michigan because they can't. And
they can't.
Programs like Central Michigan are going to go by the wayside.
I agree. I completely disagree. Now, because you need rest games. If you're going to play 16 games, you're going to have to get your couple beat up games. And your record is, you don't have to do as much to play the intense games to try to get in that top 4. You just got to get in the top 12. They're going to take some softies right there. Those games are them layup games.
I don't know, man. We shall see. But I don't propose we let 20-year-old kids play 16 games without paying. Because
let's just pay them there so you can be happy. Let's pay them.
We much further from that. They are skirting around that. Name, image, and likeness is basically a scapegoat. That they are skirting around the fact that these kids are no longer amateurs. If you're gonna have them playing 16 games, ultimately it's gonna water down the NFL talent too, because there's gonna be more injuries, less people making it to the league. It's gonna be a domino effect. But we'll leave it there. We'll see what they vote next week. In the spirit of independent football programs. Navy was in the headlines this week for all the wrong reasons. Cameron Kinley is his last name. He was, I think, he's the captain of his team, like president of his class, was planning to be the next black president with all the stuff he's doing. He got to introduce Kamala Harris as the commencement speaker. By all accounts, this guy is who you want as a representative of your institution. The Navy Midshipman Program decided, or they didn't decide, but the powers that be in the Navy decided they were not going to grant him an exception because of his NFL pursuit. And there were at least 4 other players, 1 West Point, 3 Air Force grads that got the nod to go ahead and pursue their NFL dreams, but not Cameron Kinley. It makes you wonder what race related. I played with a guy back in 2000. Good young man, Navy grad, who was in Green Bay with me. Travis Williams, he played wide receiver there, and then ended up getting signed in 2003 after his 2 years of his commitment with the Navy. I don't know how this compares to that story, but it just looks bad that the Navy has decided not to allow him to pursue his NFL dreams. I'll give you, I don't know if you saw the story, it makes you think that there's something race related to it, because
I don't know the explanation is. I know they had 5 other 5 other people that from the other academies that got a chance to play, and they've gotten their waivers. I don't know if they're all, if any of them are African American or some of them are white. I know one of them. Shout out to Radigan. He's from Naperville, in the area up here. Great kid, great family. He's got an opportunity with the Seahawks, I believe. He came from West Point. It just seems at minimum unfair. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, you got a football team. The guy came in. He's going to give you years. The Navy's going to need service after he's done. We're not at war. Like we got some time.
We ain't going nowhere. The country, you don't think there will be
Let
a
the
Navy
man play football. It's patriotic. Tell him he can't take a knee if there's a now that would be interesting.
That would be
digressed. But we digress. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe they think he's going to take a knee.
It's too politically volatile.
It just
let him play. Let him play. He sounds like a great young man. I will say this, Cameron Kinley, they might be doing you a favor, young brother. He's a political science major. I'm sure he's going to get an amazing assignment. He sounds like everyone loves him. So this won't be the last time we hear his name. I think the Navy is got a black eye when it comes to this particular story. I do I got to give a shout out. My man, Love Dog, suggests, now I'm backing up just a little bit, just to revisit our previous conversation about the college football playoffs. But he says put the HBCU champ in the last spot of the college football playoff. That's interesting.
That's a bye week.
That's interesting.
That's a bye.
It depends on who the HBCU champ is. You just talked about a play-in team making it in March Madness to the Final Four. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be in it to win it.
Who won this year? I know they didn't really have playoffs, but who's the best team?
The best HBCU team this year?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry that I do not know the answer to that.
Bye week.
In my mind, it's always Bethune-Cookman because that's where my mama went. But something tells me Bethune did not have that type of season last year. I'm gonna research that.
Bye week.
I'm gonna research that.
That's a bye week.
There's also someone.
Everybody raised their hand for that game.
Scott Bibb also says if this were in place last year, Notre Dame would have played Coastal Carolina in a playoff. So these are interesting. I'm going to do the research and figure out who the best HBCU team was last year. That team would have had to play Alabama. Let's be honest. It was a bye week for Alabama when they played Notre Dame. It was a bye week for Alabama when they played Ohio State. Alabama was just that good this year.
So what about Alabama A&M? If they had come in there and played Bama this year, what you think they would have did?
Alabama A&M?
Somebody would have went home short.
But the thing with I don't know.
Hey, shout out to my godson, Emmett Mosley V. He picked up Alabama as a scholarship this week, Georgia scholarship this week. Nick Saban himself. Shout out. All right, we go back.
Shout out, man. All right. What better way to transition from that to right into Simone Biles, the GOAT? And I'm transitioning to Simone Biles because I think that she's in an interesting spot.
She's Haitian, by the way.
Everybody Haitian.
Simone Biles Haitian. Google it. It's on the Google.
Is she really Haitian?
She's Haitian for sure. Adopted, but she's Haitian.
This is just as bad as like the LeBron James thing. Like where did that come from?
LeBron.
That's the only person I have not heard you claim is Haitian.
LeBron's not Haitian.
LeBron not Haitian? Are you sure?
I'm sure.
LeBron,
our hairlines don't go back, come forward, go back, come forward.
LeBron sound French to me.
LeBron, he's French, but not Haitian. But Simone Biles is Haitian.
All right, Simone Biles is Haitian according to this amazing Haitian the Big Flow show that we have on today's show, on all of our shows. According to this Haitian man, Simone Biles is Haitian. I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but you say so. She's got 7 world titles, and she is now being penalized for the difficulty of her routines. It's as though the powers that be do not want other people trying them. And so she's actually has the GOAT and a GOAT embroidered in her uniform. I couldn't let this week go by without giving what you say is this Haitian athlete, but this amazing athlete, her props. I could not give this. We got to take this opportunity to give her props. What do you think about them penalizing her though for the difficulty of her routine?
What a cop out! You're telling me that because her difficulty for the safety of the sport, we're trying to save world-class athletes from themselves now. You don't want other people to try. They're not going to try her stuff because they can't do it, right? It's kind
of already self-filtered. Like, I ain't trying that.
Yeah, they got foam pits. They got practice. These are the best in the world. We can't be putting in safeguards for them. So you try to hurt her, try to water her down. They just don't want her to walk away with the gold. They want to make it a little bit more difficult. But you know what? Simone keeps doing them anyway because she's Haitian. And we don't play that. We don't let people steal from us.
According to you, got to at least put allegedly. She's allegedly Haitian. No,
from her mouth.
From her, I never heard you. I want that soundbite next week. I'm gonna research the soundbite. Simone Biles saying I am Haitian.
Promised.
No way.
Promised.
She said that. She said
cool. She's Haitian.
I'm gonna take your word.
She was adopted, but her bloodline is Haitian.
Okay.
In her blood. That's why she's sweet.
I love the fact
you should have assumed that
just by watching her.
She's the GOAT. That's what you should have went to first and had to go backwards and see maybe she's not Haitian.
Confirm that this is right. But you gotta believe that it is.
Yeah,
I love that she is just like the quintessential purity of sport, man, and she's that good. Shout out to Simone Biles. But she then brings me to another amazing accomplishment by a woman in sports this week. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Yes.
34 years old.
Jamaican,
which is like cousin to Haitian. So I'm waiting on you to drop some connection to that too. But she is 34 years old and she ran a 10.63, fourth fastest time ever run by a woman. You asked me before the show, would she beat me? And yes, she would. In my best day, my best day. So I'm gonna be honest. She would have beat me. And that's
did you ever consider running track in college?
I did. I didn't run the 100. I ran the 200 and the 400, but I did. And I did run track in college. But as the primary scholarship provider, I did consider it. They told me the biggest programs, the top programs, like we got to see what you run your senior year, determine if you're going to get that full scholarship. And
we got this girl here that can beat you.
Right.
And so we go past you.
But the way my finances was set up, I had to take the bird in the hand, which was a full football scholarship. But I digress. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, 34 years old, ran a 10.63, and that's the fourth fastest time ever. Mm-hmm. So applaud Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce for running it. All good stuff. But just as pure as Simone Biles is and watching her, when we say that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce has run the fourth fastest time in all of track history as a woman, the other three times were run by the same woman. 10.49, 10.61, and 10.62, all run by the late, great Flojo. So when you hear Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at 34 years old, after having a baby, runs a 10.63, you and everybody else immediately thinks, what?
Cheater.
She on that, you know what? She on that good.
She on that good.
And so it started making me think like there's this big dark cloud over track that every time you hear about these amazing feats, it's the opposite of the purity of a Simone Biles. When you think of this whole track thing, there's a dark cloud over there. So in today's episode of Armed Robbery, I have to ask in sports like track and field, where someone runs a fast time like that, and you automatically think she got to be doping. But you also think, well, I do. Is she doping? You understand, because everybody's doping. Is it armed robbery? Are they cheating the sport? Are they cheating the fan? Or are they just adapting and adjusting to what it is? The same thing in AAU. You know what it is. We see these AAU basketball teams. They got all these reclasses. And the team that gets beat by the team with reclasses, man, but they got reclasses. The very next year, guess what? They got reclasses. And it's like, are they cheating or are they adapting? And so let's go out with this conversation because we saw in baseball this week, Garrett Cole was way too honest. Media asked him a very specific question. Whether or not he used a particular product. To me and you, I think that question warrants yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Cole went into some philosophical answer about, well, I don't even know how to answer that. I would say yes or no. He said, there are players that came before me that taught me how to do things. And basically he said, y'all know what it is. We all doing it. We all cheating. And baseball is also PED. So whether it be Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in track with this dark cloud over all the top times, when someone performs, Justin Gatlin, I love Justin Gatlin, but the fact that he's still running that fast after being
Banned like 6 times. He just
What do you
got better.
automatically think?
Jeez.
In baseball, we had PEDs. Now we got this new thing that's affecting the hitting, all these no-hitters because of the stuff they're putting on the baseball.
Baseball has always been like that. They go from one scandal to the next. They cork bats, spitballs, pine tar. I mean, that's the most cheating sport ever. PEDs, everybody coming in. But you say, like, for instance, this Frazier Price.
Price.
Frazier Price. She might be doping, but she's beating a bunch of people who are doping. But she just became a mama, man. And I tell you what, sometimes that changed a woman's body and she get that superhuman strength. You ever seen how long a woman can hold a baby without complaining? They get that super strength. So she
it don't make you faster. I agree. There's maternal instinct.
She's been chasing the kids around. Her start got to be sweet now because chasing babies. You know how babies go. You got to get
out. Put your hand in that electrical socket.
You got to be quick. So I think maybe.
So you think that's what it is?
It might be her becoming a mother, man. I'm gonna shout her out. But you're right. You go first right away. You start thinking she's cheating. She's running crazy times. I mean, she's
34 years old.
There's like 3 dudes on our football team that she could. That we play in college, they could beat her. 3-4 dudes, maybe. Maybe. We're world class. But you know what? Until they catch her, I'm not gonna put out any false accusations out there. You never know. Them Jamaicans, maybe she eating the same yams that because that's what they say.
Usain Bolt
was eating yams. Maybe she got the same yams.
Look, I'm just asking more generally, whether it be track or baseball, in these sports that we have sort of come to realize that in order to thrive and succeed and be at the top of your game, to run that 10.63, or in this case, Garrett Cole, to be throwing all these strikes, like it is sort of become synonymous with these sports that if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
You ain't.
And is that armed robbery? Are they robbing us of the purity and enjoying the sport? Are they robbing us to appreciate the accomplishments for what they are because we are automatically put into this this whirlwind questioning of whether or not they cheated? Is that armed robbery, or are they just adjusting to the reality? Because when it comes to AAU basketball, I don't think playing with reclass kids is cheating, because I think everyone's playing with reclass kids. The whole concept of reclassing itself, some people might say it's cheating, but everybody's reclassing. So it's like if you don't reclass and everyone's reclassed, I mean, you playing with kids 2 years, you're a senior sometimes. And so I guess the broader question we can go out on, and the whole concept of armed robbery, and I'm asking, is it armed robbery, or are they just adjusting to the times and making sure that they can adapt to being able to survive?
I mean, we can go back to the beginning of the show and you talked about Floyd Mayweather, right? And say it's armed robbery. Did the people who spent the $50 get what they wanted to see? Did they watch people punch each other? When they were done, did they enjoy the times with people at the house? You know, my son went to his friend's house. They had a party. They watched it. He's texting me during the thing, talking about what's going on or whatever. They were entertained. When you watch her run a 10-6, I want to see it, right? When you watch the no-hitters, people tune in. I get texts on my phone, and they say, hey, man, such is this inning, and he's a no-hitter. You want to go watch and see if he can go do it. So what are you getting robbed of? This is sports or entertainment, right? Look at what we talk about. The sports and entertainment collide. That's what sports is entertainment. So, hey, at the end of the day, people are going to do different things. If that becomes legal, they'll stop doing it. They'll go to something different. They'll stop doing it. Everyone's going to try to get an edge. And that's the innovation of the world. So I don't feel cheated. I think it's entertaining. I think baseball is a boring sport in general. They always got to find some different way to do something that makes people get attention every few years to bring us back to it.
I think I got to
keep soaking those balls.
I got to disagree. I think it's cheating. I think I call it armed robbery because they've been armed with a gift that we all respect. They've been armed with and that has now garnered this loyalty. When I heard Butch Reynolds, who was a 400-meter runner, he broke the world record at one point. Has been surpassed several times since. But Butch Reynolds, when I heard that he failed a drug test and was doping, I was heartbroken. I'll be honest, because everything that I did in the 400 meters, I patterned around Butch Reynolds. And as a kid, it broke my heart. As a fan, I'm older now. I think maybe I'm becoming more cynical and I just expect them to cheat. But that says a lot about the sport and where we are. And I do call it armed robbery. But Shout out to Shelly Ann Fraser Price. Shout out to Garrett Cole for not answering that question. I ain't never seen no tap dancing like that. That was
Shelly, I think you've been eating yams and you had that baby, and that's why you fast. I'm not gonna let them salt your name out here on TV.
You gonna defend her. She wasn't cheating. I'll go out with this, man,
Jamaica,
because
which is right by Haiti.
We talked about the business of college football playoffs and the business of all the things related to sports. And talk a lot about sports. On entertainment, we'll go out on this. You see, Bob Kraft, my man Meek Mills, presented him a blue Bentley for his 80th birthday. Jay-Z was behind it too. We got to go out there. What do you? Bob Kraft, first of all, could buy that with his chump change.
First of all, I gotta say this, right? I got a lot of friends that listen to the show. Y'all ain't shit. I ain't never seen Nathan outside my house. I ain't never had nobody come over here and tell me cover my eyes, come outside. Y'all ain't shit. I'm cutting all y'all. You guys are all on
You
notice,
need new
man.
friends. You need new friends. Why can't you know light blue Bentley?
You could have got me a light blue bicycle and I would have been excited. But y'all, you know what I'm saying? I've been friends with y'all. I've been doing stuff, man. I'm cool.
With love that.
But you get a dude who pays millionaires. He's the check writer to millionaires. And you giving him Bentley, and he's like, "Oh, this is so special. My housekeeper been wanting one of these. I will let my little housekeeper ride this thing." Y'all friends of mine ain't shit. I ain't got that for y'all, man.
That's gonna be a throwaway card, Bentley. That's how the other half lives, man. The 1% of the 1%. Look, y'all, it's been a great week. This has been Armed Robbery. We talked about several topics. Please, again, we ask you to like, we ask you to comment, we ask you to share. Tag a friend, tag a foe, tag anybody that you know. If you haven't subscribed on Podcast Land yet, please do. It's the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. With your boy, B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mountain South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, and the one and only, the Big Flow Show in the building.
Yep. Chitch.
And with that,